Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining our workshop. Super excited to be here today to talk about how you can build 3D and metaverse applications in just 15 minutes. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you to the event organizers who invited us to speak. I'm Alon. I'm from a company called Echo 3D. We're a cloud platform for 3D asset management. A little bit more about me. Um, I have my master's in computer science from Columbia University and did my undergrad in computer science and electrical engineering. So, a certified nerd and a big believer in the intersection between cloud and 3D, AR, VR, and network infrastructure. Really excited about today. I represent a company called Echo 3D. Today we have over 60,000 developers just like yourselves on our platform who are using us to build 3D, metaverse, AR, VR applications. And we've partnered with some of the best companies out there like Unity, NVIDIA, Intel, to really allow developers like you to build really immersive applications. So before we dive in, let's level set a little bit. We're actually seeing 3D content everywhere these days. We're seeing it in gaming, things like Fortnite or Roblox. We're seeing it in AR, VR experiences like social or things for kind of data visualization. And we're seeing it in e-commerce, try before you buy experiences that basically allow you to visualize a product in 3D. Now, while 3D content is everywhere, it's pretty clear that building 3D app is still pretty hard. Managing content, using 3D content, bringing it into your application, these are processes that are really, really hard. But if you think about it, that problem was kind of solved for 2D. If you want to build a blog, you don't have to be a web developer. You can just drag and drop an image or video, and suddenly that can be appeared in web or mobile. Or if we're both watching an episode on Netflix, a video, and I'm in New York and you're in California, and with both watching that episode, we automatically get the best streaming experience. And that works just automatically. So we translated these concepts into the world of 3D, allowing you to manage and deliver 3D data in 3D assets and get the best 3D streaming experience. And what's interesting here is this kind of bidirectional connection between content and location that doesn't exist in 2D. In 3D, you can have experiences that are basically tied to a specific location, something like Pokemon Go, that in different locations, your app acts differently. And that's something that is really, really unique to 3D. In addition to the file size, 3D files are really, really big and they're really fragmented. You can have file size that is extremely large, but has to come to a device that has a really small memory buffer. Also, you have a lot of kind of file types. So iOS only supports one file type, Android another, Unity another. So like you have to kind of figure out how to basically jump between these formats. But with Echo, you don't. You just throw in any format and it just works seamlessly everywhere. So this is what we've built. We've basically built this kind of cloud platform that is really specific for 3D asset management, for AR, VR, gaming, you name it. You can go to our website and register for free. Make sure to use either a free link on our website or the link that you got through the event organizers. And you'll be able to basically get access to our platform and all of its features. So be cautious of that. It's echo3d.com. And today I'm going to basically show you a demo and how to play around with the system and how to build applications really, really quickly. So let's dive in. So once you register, you will get access to our platform. That's what you see here on the left. That's our console. On the right, you see my phone. When you register, you get a project key or an API key. That's basically your collection of 3D assets. You can have multiple collections. These are almost like folders or different repositories of 3D assets. And you can see here all the integrations that we have for all the different 3D rendering engines, if it's Unity or Unreal or Java or even Niantic introduced this really cool SDK. We have an integration with that. Qualcomm has an amazing SDK for augmented reality called Snapdragon Spaces. We have an integration with that. And all of these things are accessible to you. But let's start with something simple. Let's just upload some content to the cloud. So I'm going to click the Add to Cloud button and automatically get this dialog that I'm able to upload files from my kind of local storage or use one of our sample models. We have a selection of over 75,000 assets that you can use. So definitely check them out as well. And it's really, really easy if you don't have your own 3D assets. But again, if you do, you can just upload those files directly. I'm going to upload the Empire State Building because our company is based here in New York. I'm uploading to the cloud. What happens right now is that we take that 3D model, we convert it, we compress it, we put it in different servers all over the world so we get the best 3D streaming experience. And voila, the Empire State is here. Super, super simple. How cool is that? I can see it here in 3D. And I can even kind of assess the asset itself and get more information. So what can I do here? I can download it in different file formats. So basically already you see like this original file was an OBJ, but I can suddenly download it in a GLB, USDZ, whatever. It just means that you have all these file formats available automatically if you want to work with different platforms. Each asset has its own entry ID. That's important to basically differentiate each asset. And you can automatically share it as well, which is really, really cool. Each asset already has metadata associated with it. That means that basically every asset that you upload has its own database that you can add anything you want. It could be information about users, information about the model, information for your team and how you want to kind of collaborate and maybe change something in the asset. You can set a target to the model, which means you can kind of set it in different locations. You can basically say, I want this model to exist in New York, and basically add a target to it. So like when people scan or interact with that model in New York, they're going to see the Empire State Building. But if they open it in San Francisco, they're going to see the Golden Gate Bridge, for example. So there we go. We were able to set that target. You can also see insights specifically around that model. So right now we just added it. So we see this kind of spike in usage and how that asset is performing. You can edit that model. We'll talk about that a little bit later. You can kind of change it, retexture it without going back to the place you created it. You can compress and convert that. And that's really kind of the power of Echo, the kind of underlying technology for conversion and compression, that you can say, I want this model converted to a different file format, or I want it to be compressed using Echo's proprietary compression algorithm, or I want it polyreduced by a few kind of percentages because I know that I have a lot of users in different locations and some users don't have a good internet connection. I want to polyreduce that model to different quality. So you can do everything here through the console. And another cool feature we recently introduced is versioning. You can actually go back and forward in different versions of the assets after you upload it. So that's a really, really powerful tool. But let's start with something simple. We just uploaded that 3D model. I promise you, we can build an application with it right now. So perfect. So let's do that. I'm going to click this button right here to expose a QR code. I'm going to scan it right now. If you're watching this live, you should be able to scan this QR code yourself as well and basically see the Empire State Building in your phone. Just scan the QR code. You don't have to install anything. We're launching a web app that automatically allows you to see that 3D model on your device. Again, scan it with me, but you can just follow the video as well. And voila, the Empire State is here with me so easily on my device just from a few clicks. If I click CNAR, camera opens up. I'm able to basically stream that 3D model from the cloud to my environment. Let's do that just again. There you go. Voila. You just move your phone a little bit. It recognizes any surface. It could be the floor. It could be a table or a chair, and that's it. The Empire State is here with me. I can walk around it, walk inside. Super simple. How cool is that? We just uploaded it, and literally a few seconds later, it's automatically ready for streaming. Really cool stuff. Perfect. So that was an example of basically a web app that uses surface detection. The 3D asset was projected on the floor next to you. Another thing that we support is image recognition. So you can actually scan this QR code and basically see that 3D model overlaid on an image. Now the real world target won't be the floor, it will be this QR code. So let's see how that works. Bam, suddenly the Empire State Building jumps out of the screen because the camera recognizes this image as the target as opposed to the floor. Really cool stuff and a really easy way to create applications. This QR code can actually be anything. You can put an image, let's say of a magazine, and then overlay that with an ad, or it could be your business card, and you can overlay that with a video of yourself talking. So really cool stuff. Another example that we have is face detection. So you can kind of scan this QR code right here, open up to the camera. Now the real world target would be my face. So let's see if we can do that. Perfect. So suddenly the camera recognizes my face, and that uses that to create a really instant face filter. How cool is that? So again, different approaches to interact with reality and bring 3D content into our reality. Really cool stuff. So we've seen really cool examples of how to bring 3D assets into our world. Um, let's dive into the console a little bit more and then basically build a game with a very popular game engine called Unity that you can download for free. So we have this model right here. Let's just show you how you can add more assets. We can basically create our own kind of virtual city, just throw in, let's say, different models. We can also throw in videos. Let me show you that. Basically, any MP4 file or MOV files are supported. You can also throw in images, just basically JPEGs or PNG files, and we will convert those 2D images into 3D stickers that you can share. So let's see that. There you go. We have another model already. And again, your account can have as many models as you want, as long as you kind of stay in the limits of the storage bandwidth and API calls that your account provides. Let's also upload an image right here. There we go. So perfect. So we have this video, and again, everything is shareable. You can always scan the QR code and automatically kind of share that asset in augmented reality. Fantastic. There you go. Let me share this link as well. I uploaded this 2D image, as you can see, but then in augmented reality or in 3D, it will become a 3D sticker. And that 3D sticker, it could be a picture, you can put it on the wall. If you're building something for art galleries or basically reselling art or even NFTs, you're able to upload them and create this kind of cool 3D card that you're able to put in the environment around you. Perfect. So let's see what we have here as well. So far, what I've shown you is super, super simple. You just upload and it works automatically. This is kind of our promise to you to make sure your kind of time to hello world is minimized and your app is created really, really quickly. Let's explore the console a little bit more and then transition into a more technical heavy demo. So we have all these assets. As we mentioned, you can also manage the data that is associated with these assets. So again, each asset has its own kind of database of assets that you can kind of tag. Another database that you have is a global database. You can basically add information that is applicable to your entire project and not just those assets that you have here. So it's, again, a really, really powerful tool to add keys and values that you can kind of query through your application. Another cool feature that we have here is the WebAR customizer. So we saw a WebAR experience automatically kind of populating into our phones. Through this, you can actually change a lot of things in a no-code manner. You can add buttons, you can add a background, music, add actions. So for example, you want to create a marketing campaign for a movie, you can put like an animated character right here, and then add buttons like buy tickets or add your logo. Super, super simple stuff. And it's really accessible and you don't have to do any coding to achieve that. Another really powerful tool is our model editor. So if you want to edit your model or create variations of the model, you can kind of do that inside the Echo console. So imagine that Christmas is coming up and you want to retexture all your assets to become basically in a Christmas theme. You can do that right here. So for example, I want to retexture this model to be red. I want to light the Empire State Building to be red. There you go. I can do it here. So super, super simple. And again, you can kind of edit those assets and create variants of those assets inside Echo. So you don't have to go back to Maya or Blender and recreate the asset. Another powerful tool that we have here is our scene editor. Basically allows you to bring some assets together, build the scene, compress them together, and basically structure a multi-model environment that you're able to stream in augmented reality or to Unity or all of the other platforms that we kind of shared right here. Another really powerful tool is our location page. Here you can actually monitor the distribution of content and what servers are supporting your application. So remember that we added that skyscraper in New York. So there you go. I can see it here tagged in New York. And you can see, again, the kind of servers that support your application. This is a really powerful tool because that means that if suddenly you have an influx of users in Austin, Texas, we will be able to set up a server in Austin to provide better performance for your asset streaming. You can also monitor how like what users are coming into your platform, where they're coming from to basically understand how your app is performing, how your asset is performing. You can see insights across your entire project. So we already saw that the Empire State Building was used. So we have this kind of spike in usage, but you can see what was the most popular model in the last 30 days, what actions we're taking on my project. You can really see all the logs right here in the insights page. You can convert and compress assets, as we saw earlier. That applies for 3D models, 2D assets as well. You can kind of compress images, convert images really, really quickly through the console itself. And we have a bunch of resources for you to kind of start building, which we're going to dive into soon. But some examples are, for example, our tutorials. These are open kind of source code and tutorials that allow you to basically build applications right now. If it's a face filter app or a game or this amazing makeup tutorial that one of our engineers built, all of that is open source and you can kind of play around with it and build applications that use the assets that are stored on Echo. And another page that is a favorite of mine is the inspiration page. Here, you're basically seeing so many projects that use Echo to build AR, VR applications. There's amazing things here around art and data visualization and NFTs and e-commerce and training and data visualization and projects that we did with Verizon and other companies that are really, really inspiring just to see all these kind of use cases of 3D that can basically give you inspiration of what you want to build with 3D assets. So definitely go through that page and get inspired. Other really cool features that we have right here is our subscription page. Here's where you kind of manage your subscription, manage your projects, and allow you to kind of monitor your usage. The security page is really powerful. Allows you to add collaborators to your projects. So let's say you have a team of more than one team member, or you're working on a hackathon and you want to kind of collaborate together on one single project, you can do that. You just invite other Echo 3D users and they'll be able to access your assets. And you can assign different permissions if they can delete, if they can add assets, if they can just view them. So a really, really powerful tool for collaboration as well. Fantastic. If you're already collaborating, you can also add annotations and notes on each asset. So like you can add comments right here on top of the assets. For example, one team member wants to say to another team member that they need to retexture the asset or they need to kind of rebuild it or send a new version. You can kind of do that directly in the platform. Last thing around resources, here we have our full documentation. This is a step-by-step guide of everything I just showed so far. Basically how you can use Echo to build applications. It's all really, really clear and has everything and breaks down all of the things that we've done so far. We have our GitHub page is, again, filled with amazing open source examples of projects that you can use right now. They're all here and available for you to start building. You can request for features if you feel like there's something missing. You can join our Slack channel for support. Please do. It's an amazing community on Slack that basically helps each other. And our team is always there to answer any questions that we might have about the platform. You can always email us or send us a tweet if you have any issues with the platform and you need any help. Perfect. So what we've saw so far is basically how you can do it in a very kind of low code, no code way. Just upload assets, upload 3D assets, upload images, upload videos, see them in 3D, see them in augmented reality, and kind of manage that, share those assets super quickly. Really, really cool stuff. And it's all available right here. Even I can show you that every 3D asset that we have in storage has this kind of link that you can share, and that will automatically be available with anyone. And that applies again to any 3D asset that is stored. Everything you saw so far, again, was very no code, but we actually have a very robust API that can do everything we saw so far just through coding. So basically, if you can query all the data, you'll be able to basically see a lot of that data that here is represented very visually, but you'll be able to see that through a response or some coding or whatnot. Now we're going to transition to a more kind of a technical part of the workshop. And I'm going to show you how to use the Unity game engine to build an application using Echo, and how you can stream the same 3D asset that we just streamed to our phones into the Unity game engine. So let's see how that works. Let me clear some of the assets here. Perfect. So this is the Unity. It's a game engine a lot of developers love to use. Here I have an empty scene that basically has the Echo 3D SDK that, as I mentioned, you can download directly through our downloads menu right here. What I'm going to do right here is I'm going to plug in my API key. So I have this kind of project key right here. I'm going to plug it into Unity, press play. Data will start streaming from the cloud into Unity, very similarly to how it streamed from the cloud to my phone earlier. And I'll be able to see the same Empire State Building now in a 3D kind of VR environment inside Unity. So let's give it a sec to kind of load, and we'll be able to see that. Super, super simple. As I showed, just have to embed our SDK and then insert that API key so our system will know which assets to stream in. So let's see how that works. There you go. The Empire State Building is just here. Super, super simple. How cool is that? All I had to do is press play and it's automatically here. Super, super simple. And again, if you want to add more assets, we can do that. Again, let's re-add that other building and create this kind of virtual city together inside Unity. Super, super simple. There you go. And bam, see that? That model that I just added was automatically added to Unity in real time. What we have here at Echo is we basically implemented something called the WebSockets. It's basically almost like real-time push notifications to Unity, to the game engine, that something changed and you want to push a change to the game. For this example, we added an asset and bam, it appeared automatically. Now they're overlapping. So let's change that a little bit and kind of restructure the scene. Let's say that we want to add some metadata that says x equals 10. Bam, automatically it changes. It moves the building 10 feet away. And that's great because I can basically build an application and change it in real time. And if tomorrow something isn't working, I can change that too. So real-time updates is a really, really powerful thing. And that's the power of the cloud in the palm of your hand that you can actually affect how the application is structured. Let's say we want to animate the model suddenly. We've built the app, but we really want this model to animate. We can do that right here. Let's do something like direction equals right. Bam, suddenly it starts to rotate in real time. How cool is that? So again, this is the power of the cloud, allowing you to push updates to your assets literally just a few clicks. Now, if I stop Unity from playing, everything disappears. Why? Because again, all these assets are coming in from the cloud. They don't actually persist in memory. This is a great thing because that means that your build size will be super, super small. Your assets are not really there, and they only materialize in runtime, which is a really, really great and powerful tool. If I press play again, everything will be reinstantiated. The scene will be recreated in Unity. But you'll also see that the scene is recreated exactly as we left it, right? Suddenly the building is rotating. It's 10 feet away from the other building. That's because our content management system is a stateful content management system. It remembers the state of the application, and it's able to recreate that super, super easily. There you go. If you do want to play around with the assets while the application is not running, so basically not in runtime, you can do that too. You just need to load the editor holograms right here. So you just click Echo 3D and you load the editor holograms and you can clear them later. It will basically it will cache a local copy of those assets you can kind of play around with, have them be part of your scene, and have those actual game objects inside the scene editor like you know from any applications. But then afterwards, you can just clear them and have your assets come in from the cloud. So really, really powerful tools that you kind of bring into your application. Another really cool tool that you need to be aware of is the kind of the scripting that we have right here. The scripts that are used in Unity are C# script. This is an object-oriented language. So if you know Java or if you know C#, great. You should be okay. Really, really simple stuff. And there's a bunch of kind of scripts that you need to be aware of. One of the most important ones is the custom behavior script. This is a script, again, in C#, that allows you to customize the behavior of the asset. So for example, if you want to add real-time updates or you want something to happen once the kind of asset is instantiated, you can edit that code and it will automatically work. And that's, again, a really great, powerful tool because it's attached to everything that we have. So let's see it in practice. So we have the code right here. And for example, in this code, we have two really important functions. We have the start function, evident by its name, happens when you start the application. And we have the update function, which basically is called every single frame. Remember, you're coding in 3D now, which means there's almost like a scene being rendered, a video being rendered in front of your eyes. And every single frame of this kind of 3D scene is affected by this this function. So this function is called every single frame. That means if this function hangs or stops or is kind of stuck in some infinite loop, your entire application will be stuck in an infinite loop or crash or won't work. So you need to be really, really conscious about this. Think of the update function almost as like a while true app or like an infinite kind of a while true loop or an infinite for loop. But let's look at the start function right now. Right here, we have really simple code snippet. For example, we add some kind of component to it, the remote transformation that allows you to do the remote transformation that we just did. We also have this kind of example snippet that says, well, if I have any additional data, great. If I have an additional data called name, set the name of the object to my name. Really, really cool. So let's see how that works in practice. So I'm gonna set a name. So let's say we want this building, instead of being called apartment, I want it to be called Kevin. Great name for a building. Now I'm going to press play. Data again will stream from the cloud to the game engine, but then the name of the building that we just set will come in from the cloud. So let's see how that works. There you go. Suddenly we have Kevin the building. How cool is that? So we're able to basically, through metadata, again, affect something in the application, and you can do that. And this is just an example. If I change the name from Kevin to Sam, nothing happens. Why is that? Because that snippet of code only happens when the application starts, right? So if I restart the application, that effect will kind of kick in. I didn't set it as something that happens all the time inside the application. And I don't use that kind of information from Echo all the time. So let's see that. I restarted the application. Now it's called Sam. Really, really cool, right? So how can we actually edit our code a little bit to make sure the data that comes in is constantly being updated? So let's see how that works. You probably guessed it. We're going to move this snippet of code to the update function. So let's do that. That means that every single frame, we're going to ask, do I have any additional data? If I do I have a name? And if I do have a name, let's set that name to the set of the application. So let's give Unity a second to kind of recompile right here, because we changed the code, so it takes a minute to kind of update the new script. And then when we restart the application, that new kind of script will kick in, and we'll be able to basically change the name remotely, and it will constantly kind of check for name updates. That's one way to do it. Another way is to kind of register those updates through our kind of WebSocket notification mechanism. That's all in our documentation. You can kind of follow that. There you go. So we have Sam the building, and then now if we change this to something else, let's do that. Let's do name equals Kevin. There you go. Bam, automatically in real time, it became Kevin. How cool is that? Perfect. So that was a quick, simple example of how to use Echo 3D with Unity. As I mentioned, it's a really, really powerful tool, and you should really, really start looking into game engines and 3D platforms to build really compelling kind of applications like we saw in the inspiration page. Now, let's go back to our slides and review. So we saw that with Echo, you can stream, store 3D content anywhere in real time and across different devices. We saw it through our phone, we saw it through a game engine. There's so many other things that you can do. If it's for mobile apps or for headsets, everything is available. And go through our documentation to see how you can do that and kind of scale your application to different platforms. We saw that as a developer, you can choose any platform out there and any SDK. We saw the examples that we have with the Qualcomm SDK, and Niantic and iOS and Android. And we saw a lot of the kind of creative tools that you don't need to be like a coder to use, like the entire console and how you can upload content. And then we at Echo, we build, store, and deliver those assets to any device out there. So that's a really, again, like a really powerful tool in your disposal that you can build applications really quickly. That also means that if you're building really big games that are really hard to update, by using Echo, suddenly all these games and applications become really, really small and really easy to update, like we just saw in the example we shared. We saw that developers basically save time and money in building their applications. Content creators need no technical skills to basically upload content, manage content, and companies to scale to enterprise level by basically sending assets all over the world. We talked about 3D experiences. You talked about a bunch of use cases. We saw the inspiration page that's filled with amazing examples of 3D that you can explore, but really kind of come in and look at these examples to get inspired by what you can build, because I think it's really, really the time to build 3D applications. We saw the amazing traction that we have here at Echo with over 60,000 developers on our platform, and you should join this amazing community to start building applications right now. Today, we're happy to share some success stories around people who are building things for AR urban development and marketing and NFTs and really, really cool use cases of 3D that exist in the real world. A little bit more about us as a company. We won a bunch of awards, and we're backed with some of the most amazing investors in the country, like Qualcomm Ventures and Convoy Ventures and Reimagine Ventures and Space Capital and Techstars. So really an amazing collections of supporters, and we're there for any major tech event. So if you're there and you see the Echo 3D team, please say hello, and that you've kind of met us at this kind of workshop. Make sure to register today to your account. Really, really easy. And we have a free tier that you can play around with, or use the link that you got from the event organizers to start building today. Thank you so much for joining our workshop. Really, really appreciate it. Have a fantastic, fantastic day and start building. This is definitely the time to build, and it's definitely the time to build in 3D. Thank you so, so much, and have a good one.